everybody, welcome back to A Well-Read Nerd. I'm Amber and it's another indie book review Tuesday. I try to do indie books on Tuesday. I'm going to try to work in other ones. If you don't follow me over on TikTok, I've got an entire bag full of books in this room right now with me. We're still in this space. Yes, it's going to be this space for a little bit. But yeah, I'm doing another indie book. Now, today I am doing Enchanted Ink by Lynn. This one was sent to me as an ARC copy from the author. If you follow me over on Instagram, you've already seen or read my review for it. If you follow me on TikTok, you'll notice I didn't do a review for it. That's because I am going to be critical of this book. And it's the author's first debut novel. It's their first novel out. I don't want them seeing my review and being discouraged, because this review is purely for us, for readers. It's not necessarily for the author. They didn't do anything wrong. Sorry. They didn't do anything wrong. But I do want to talk about it. So Enchanted Ink is the story set in a universe where magical tattoos are a thing. That is a great premise. I love that premise. It follows Ashton, who is a magical tattoo artist who basically got sort of the shaft from an ex-boyfriend slash ex-boss. He's tried to get some work redone, very common with tattoos, and goes to a sort of celebrity tattoo artist that is known for doing rework, and they end up in a romance together, okay? It's pretty much written on the wall that the romance is coming. I'm not throwing you a curveball. Now, that premise is amazing. It is an amazing premise. I love that premise. The execution of that premise was not right for me. What I mean by that is there's a lot of elements in that were very good. However, I feel like the author put those elements on the back burner in service of the romance. And I don't mind romances. I don't mind straight up romances. I don't mind romantic subplots. None of that stuff. My problem was the fact that this book put the romance before the plot, and I was more interested in the plot than the romance. Again, nothing wrong with the two, male leads, happenstancing, falling in love with each other, growing a relationship, all that. That's great. It's fine. It's a fine romance. I was more interested in the other parts of the book. I was more interested in fleshing out the other characters in the book. I feel like they were a lot of times put on the back burner for the romance, between the two male leads, and I'm not really for that. It's personal preference. Another thing with this is the fact that, well, the author hints that they used to write in a fandom, right, on their social media. As somebody who was a participant in that fandom, I could not separate the fandom from this book. From locations, character descriptions, even when they were gender bent. There was too much of those original characters from not the original characters, the characters that appeared in somebody else's work that then were turned into fan fiction, that were then kind of turned into this. I can see the stitches too much. That is not necessarily a fault. Sometimes it's done better than others. While I did not like the love hypothesis for a lot of reasons, the fact that it was something completely different from Raylo, where even if you were in the fandom, you could still see it as a separate entity, was a lot of work, and you can tell that the author put a lot of work into that. This, I think, was purely the fact that it's a first novel. It's a debut, okay? And especially if you're going from that fandom space to traditional publishing, if you have a story idea that's really neat and you want to move it over, I think it's just a fault of not knowing that there is more editing involved with that than you might think to begin with. It is more than just paste, but find and replace and change out names. There's more that's involved with that in order to make it its own cohesive story. And I think that was the issue here. Again, if you're not familiar with the fandom, I'm gonna spoil it. It's supernatural. It's Destiel. But if you're not familiar with that fandom and you're fine with a romance first plot, I would say give it a read. Like, it's not badly written. There's some format issues, especially with like text conversation. But in all honesty, I've seen those same bad formatting issues with like traditionally published when it comes to trying to like put like it's speaking in text stuff in there. So I'm gonna let that slide. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, really not. A little repetitive at places, but I put that in my review. I hope they're reading reviews. That way they know that maybe that's something that they can edit for a later edition. But yeah, overall, this is a 3-star book. And while you hear all my criticisms, you might be like, 3 stars is still pretty high. Like, why wouldn't you give that like a 2-star? It's because it's not bad. It wasn't for me, but it's not a bad book. It's on the short side. It's more of a novella that I would classify than an actual like novel, but that's also fine. But it's not the length of it. It's the fact that I can't see past the stitches. I can't. Some people can. Some people love this book. They got ARC copies. I can't see past the stitches. That's on me. That's why I didn't like it. I don't like necessarily romance overtaking plot. If you're fine with that, if you're all for just like you just want romance, you want something that like just goes and it's a low stakes romance at that, then yeah, you're probably gonna like this, especially if you like that urban fantasy type thing. It just wasn't right for me when I was reading it. Maybe, I'm gonna be real, if there is a sequel to this, after they have time to hone their writing a bit more, I will pick it up. Even if they reach out for me for an arc, I would read it. Because the person's not bad at storytelling. The author just has more to learn when it comes to that. It is very clearly a first attempt at a novel. And writing a novel is like running a marathon. You gotta train for it, or like you're not gonna get, you're just gonna tap out midway through, because it is hard. And I say this as somebody who is currently writing her own debut, who, even though I've been writing this entire time, I've been writing, like, doing little sprints, doing prompts, like playing around with ideas and stuff. It's still hard, okay? I wrote 30,000 words in 3 weeks, and I felt like I got hit by a truck. It is a lot of work, and I don't fault anybody for the first time who just really wants to create a story and put it out there for people to enjoy, that maybe they didn't have the stamina to make it all the way to the finish line. That's fine. They still ran a marathon, and that's an achievement in and of itself. So yeah, like I said, if an urban fantasy about magical tattoos that's like a low stakes romance first like plot, and it's a Killian, it's M/M, like, if that sounds appealing to you, I would say go check out Enchanted Ink, give it a try, support an indie author who is just doing what they love and telling gay magical tattoo stories. They deserve all of the support from the people who are into it. And like I said, if there's a sequel, I'll be picking up the sequel, and like, yeah, I'm expecting it to be better because now they've already got the first one. Thanks everybody for watching. I know I said it before in my videos, or maybe not. I feel I'm out of order. Anyway, I'm going to be starting to put out like polls on the community tab here for different arcs and other things that I have thankfully received from authors. I'm just going to put out to you guys if there's any that you've been excited about and that you've heard about and you want me to review them. First, you could go ahead and vote for those. They should already be out. I was planning on doing that tonight while I'm editing like this. So just go over to the community tab. It'll be right there. Just go ahead and fill in which ones you are interested in hearing about. I'm reading all of them. That just lets me gauge what your guys' interest is and what you want to hear about first. You're going to hear all of them eventually, Just if there's something that everybody is like, ooh, I can't believe you got an arc for that. I've been wanting to like know what it's about. Like, just let me know through the ones that are offered there. Also, some sequels to some other ones. Next week is Throne of Darkness by Spencer Russell Smith. It's a space opera. I'm almost done with it. I'm currently also beta reading for an author, so I'm juggling a lot of like pots in the fire right now. But that one is coming out next week, so you guys will get a full review there. Probably you're gonna get it over on IG and TikTok first, but is what it is. Also check out my blog post. There will be a full blog for this, a blog post for this down below, along with some other things. I am writing some other blog posts for videos that might, or ideas that might crop up as videos on here, but I'm just putting out on there instead. So you can go check that out too if you want. As bad as it sounds, I get AdSense on my blog and I don't get AdSense on here. So if you want to support me, you can go read my blog. That's how the world works. But yeah, with that being said, I will talk to you guys later this week. Bye.